Reduction of import tariff from 130% to 30%. Now do you remember, here I have told them that we are net importer, so because of depreciation our price will increase, our import will become expensive. Do you remember this? In the previous point we discussed this thing, that we are net importer, so our import will become expensive on account of depreciation or devaluation. Yes or no? So another answer that has been given by IMF is that why don't you reduce your import duty? So suppose on a rare, if goods were cost $100, we will charge tax of $130. So ultimately price of goods in India became $230. So what they are saying is, why do you charge so much high tax on your goods? Why don't you reduce this to $30? So if you will reduce this to $30, then price of your goods will become $130. So you will save $100. So we told them that we are net importer. If we depreciate, our import will become expensive. So they are saying you devalue your currency and at the same time you reduce import taxes. So the tax that you charge on import on goods, you reduce that tax. So as a result, what will happen? You will save on the expensive thing. That is, this increase in price will come down to the extent of reduction in taxes. Is it clear? Is it clear? Can I move to the third point? Okay. Now my counter question is that you are asking me to reduce my taxes from $130 to $30. So I am the government. From where will I get this money? You are asking me to give away $100 from my pocket. So if I will give away this $100, from where will I get this money? So third thing they are saying is that you increase your excise duty. Okay? Excise duty to be hiked by 20%. Now what is this excise duty? See, this is India. Okay? In India, there are only two ways that a goods can be sold or goods arrived in India. Either you import it or you produce it. There are only two ways through which you can get any goods. Either you import it from some other country or you produce it yourself. If you import it, then you pay a tax on it called import duty. If you produce it, then you pay a tax on it called excise duty. So what they are saying is that you have reduced import duty, fine, you increase the excise duty. If you have reduced import duty, why don't you increase the excise duty? This money will go to the government. So they are saying you increase the excise duty. Okay? See, however, this will have adverse effect on India. Why? Because goods produced in rest of the world will become cheaper in India and goods produced in India will become expensive in India. So this will hurt our domestic production. But at that time we had no choice other than to oblige with their condition because they were giving us dollar. So third condition that was imposed was excise duty to be hiked by 20%. Is it clear? Is it clear to you? Okay. There is one more condition that was imposed by them. Government expenditure to be cut down by 10% annually. That is, whatever money government is spending, they should reduce that expenditure. Okay, whether it is their food security program, MNREGA subsidies, or their administrative expense, salary, interest, whatever they are incurring, they should cut it down by 10% annually. Okay, so that they will save some money. This excise duty will reflect in export also. Yes, it will reflect in export also. But see, why it will not reflect in export? I will give you one example. Usually what happens is that you produce goods, right? If you are going to export, then in various cases government gives you the benefit, and government anyways charge negligible excise duty. That is what government will say: if you have paid me 20% excise duty, and if you sell these goods outside India, you take back 20% from me. So government anyways keep this excise duty negligible or zero for exporter. So even if you give excise duty to the government, government will give back this excise duty so that your price becomes cheaper in the external market. But point is, if you increase excise duty in India, and if that good is sold in India, then obviously it will hurt domestic production, because demand for goods in your country will fall down. Is it clear? For export, these goods will not become expensive, because usually what happens, in order to give export benefit or to promote export, government gives rebate. So as a result, export may not be impacted to that extent, apart from few goods for which government will not give benefit. But the main problem will be faced by you and me, because we are sitting in India. So price of goods will increase for us. So inflation will be there for you and me. Okay. So all the four conditions clear to you? One doubt is still unanswered. What is that doubt? What are the new industrial policies, or what are the actual reforms that took place? For actual reforms, we will wait for 2 hours. After 2 hours, when I will finish the chapter of industrial policy, last topic of industrial policy is your economic reforms of 1991 or new industrial policy. So in industrial policy, we will see industrial policy of 1991. There we will see what were the actual reforms. So only this topic is left unanswered in this chapter. Half an hour discussion is more left in this chapter. Then we will go to industrial policy. There I will tell you what were the actual reforms that took place. Okay? Clear so far? Okay. So let's take 2 minutes break, and then we will resume our discussion. Hardly 20 to 30 minutes discussion left on this chapter, and then we will move ahead to next chapter, industrial policy. Yes, I will explain it to you after break. Okay. So I have only said in the fourth point, reduce government expenditure by 10%. So government spent money on so many things, whether on paying salaries, paying interest, or running subsidy program. So they are simply saying that government should reduce their expenditure. So that's why fourth point says reduce government expenditure by 10% annually. That government should observe austerity measures and reduce their expenditure 10% by every year. Okay. Okay. Now another topic is reform measures. You are policy maker. You only know one thing. This is demand curve. This is supply curve. This gives you quantity and price. Now what do you want? You want to increase this quantity because you want your country to produce more. So what will you do? You will try to shift this curve here and this curve here. You will try to keep on increasing this output by increasing demand and supply. Okay, like this. Is it clear? If you do not know anything, but still you are made Prime Minister, at least you know that you can go from Q1 to Q2 and you can go from Q to Q1 and Q1 to Q2 by increasing output. So if I ask you to increase the output or how you will increase the productivity, you will simply say increase AD, increase AS. That is, increase the demand of goods in your economy and increase aggregate supply in your economy. Okay? Is it clear to you? So how will you increase AD? If we talk about AD, you will increase the income of the people. If you have to increase the income of the people, you have to increase the employment opportunities in the country. If you have to increase employment opportunities in the country, you have to increase level of education, right? So what happens is this looks a time consuming process. To increase AD, you have to increase income. To increase income, you have to give more employment. More employment is only possible when level of education or skill increases. So it looks like a time-consuming process. But you have election in next 5 years. So you do not have enough time to wait for 20 years to get your country educated. What you will do? You will take a shortcut route. You will increase subsidy. Now what happens? Increase in subsidy will also increase consumption. When it will increase consumption, it will automatically increase AD because one of the component of AD is consumption. So this subsidy is Food Security Act, Housing for All, MNREGA. So this kind of measures that are adopted will increase AD. So if a government wants long-term measure, they should go through this approach. If they want short-term measure, they will increase subsidy. That's why this is various time called populist measure. Populist means if you tell someone that give me 20 years, then I will increase your income, they will not vote you. But if you will go and say, I will do it in 1 year, they will vote you. So what you will do in 1 year, you will simply tell them, if you have job, very good. If you do not have job, come to me, I will give you 500 rupees each day. Right? So this will immediately increase your popularity and you will get vote. No one is willing to wait for 20 years to increase their income. So if you will show them this route that I will make sure that everybody in your family is educated and your income increases by increasing employment opportunity, you will never be voted back to the power. So this is one component of increasing or undertaking reform measure. Now another component to this is you increase supply. Now in case of supply, what will happen? You will go for land reforms. You will go for tax breaks. You will go for your, apart from tax break, you will go for ease of doing business. As a result, what will happen? Output will increase. There is only one problem. See, increase in output will lead to increase in employment also. But there is only one problem with this measure. What will happen is, political party in your opposition will accuse you of capitalism, crony capitalism or anti-poor. Why? Because who is producing this output? This output is produced by producer. So producer are no one but business class. So what will happen? Government who is in the opposition will say that you are anti-poor. Okay? See, you may not be anti-poor. Why? Because when you are increasing output, it will automatically increase employment opportunity. But if you do not get employment because of this measure, you will say government is anti-poor. When employment opportunity is increasing, it will not increase for everybody equally. Okay? There will be some disparity. So those who will not get employment, they will accuse the government of being anti-poor. So that's why government try to take this step, but they take it as at a very snail pace. Big reforms like reform in education sector, primary education, skill training, they try to delay as much as possible, right? Because that is very long term. Forget accusing, it will take you 1, 2 decade, 3 decade to achieve. Best thing that they want or that they implement to come back to power is give subsidy. But no government can keep on increasing on the basis of giving subsidy. So along with populist measure of giving subsidy to increase the output in your country, you have to go for increase in supply and increase in skill of the people. Is it clear? Is it clear to you? Okay. Now, have you heard about the word liberalization, privatization, globalization? Okay. So we will discuss that only. Okay. I will just give you some small write-ups and we will discuss it. First is liberalization. LPG reforms is the heading. It is based on the idea of free trade. Okay, let everything be free. Let the producer decide what to produce. Let the consumer decide what to consume. Okay, laissez-faire. State intervention should be minimal. Only to the extent of public goods and the job of regulator. That is, okay, state should move towards becoming a market economy. This is the principle of liberalization. So liberalization is basically giving you which direction you need to follow. Your economy should move towards becoming liberal each day. Okay, liberalization is the direction. Is it clear meaning of liberalization? Okay. Now, how will you achieve this liberalization? You need to take some steps. So the path that you need to follow to achieve liberalization is privatization. Privatization. So privatization is the path. So there are three aspects to privatization. Disinvestment, denationalization, and expansion of private sector. Before going this, understand there are two kind of companies: government company, private company. In a government company, greater than 50% ownership is with the government. Ownership with government. Here, greater than 50% ownership with private sector. That is non-government entity. When I am saying greater than 50%, it can be 51, 52, 200. It can be any number, but has to be greater than 50%. Same case goes here. So if a company in which more than 50% is held by government, it is a government company. If more than 50% is held by private players or private sector or non-government entity, it is a private company. Okay? Is this distinction clear to you? Is this distinction clear to you? Okay. So now, how can you achieve privatization? There are three ways of achieving privatization. First is disinvestment, that is selling some stake in government companies. Okay, government companies. I am writing the short form, you will write full name, government companies. So selling some stake means it can be 5%, it can be 10%, it can be 20%, it can be anything. Okay, you are selling some stake in the government company, that is disinvestment. On the other hand, you can sell 100%, then it is denationalization. Disinvestment, selling some stake but not 100%. If you sell 100%, it will become denationalization. Only United Kingdom under Margaret Thatcher has achieved this denationalization by selling 100% stake in the government companies. So denationalization means selling 100% stake. Disinvestment means selling some stake but not 100%. Not 100%. Because if you sell 100%, it will come under denationalization. Expansion of private sector means opening up more sector to private sector. Opening up more industries to private sector. Tax break, land reforms, ease of doing business. Okay? So if you make environment more suitable for them to do business, then it is expansion of private sector, protection to small scale industries, SSIs. So all this is expansion of private sector. So there are two ways through which privatization is achieved. Broadly, either government will give up their stake, or if private sector will increase their stake. If government is reducing their stake, then also it is moving towards privatization. If private sector increases their stake, then also it is moving towards industrialization. Is it clear? Okay. Now, third thing in our discussion is globalization. Can you please tell me from when did India started the process of globalization? 19? I think it's incomplete. What is 19, Deepika? No. I was expecting that answer, but that is not correct. Remember the arrival of East India Company? Though even when there was no concept of nation state and there was no concept of India, we used to sell goods and we were net exporter during that time. Okay? So globalization is not a new concept. See, the reason why I asked question is that so that I can tell you this concept that this is not a new concept to India, or globalization is not something that is new to India. Okay? Globalization simply means cross-border trade, cross-border movement of capital, cross-border movement of labor. So though there was no concept of nation state or there was no concept of a country, then also there was the concept of globalization. Okay? And global trade used to happen. So it is not a new concept at all. It is only problem is that Great Depression and two world wars made us protectionist and we closed our border. Because of Great Depression and two world wars, we closed our borders. Otherwise, we were doing trade on a global basis much before the concept of nation state was there. Okay? Now, globalization simply means cross-border flow of goods, labor and capital. If this is India, this is rest of the world, you can go work here, sell goods here, invest capital here, and similarly they can do the same in your country. This is what we mean by globalization. That is, whole world will become one economy. Okay, there is no restriction in capital movement, goods movement or labor movement. Is it clear? Is it clear to you? So basically, liberalization gives you the direction, that is, in which direction your economy should move. Privatization tells you the path, that which path you should follow to achieve this direction. And globalization tells you the goal, that finally what is the goal that you need to achieve. So liberalization is giving you the direction, move in this direction. You will ask, how should I move? By going for privatization. So privatization is the path on which you have to walk, and globalization is the goal where you will achieve. So finally world will achieve or should strive to achieve globalization by walking on the path of privatization, following the direction given by liberalization. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. So this was the last topic in this chapter. Is there any doubt from this chapter? Anything you want me to repeat, any clarification, or can we move ahead to next chapter?